Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Welcome aboard to the house. Yvette Avery Herod, numero uno, in the chat today. She is the first one in the chat. How you doing, Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia? We also have in the house Brother Lee Grant from Montgomery County. We also have in the house Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York. We also have Joe Ann in the house from Los Angeles, California. Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. El Señor Michael Rudden from Brooklyn, New York, who says, I'm away today. Finally got health insurance and set up a doctor's appointment. See ya tomorrow. We'll front load, and the last one, man, the last one. Okay, brother, I hear you. All right, we also have in the house Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. All right, Lee Grant says, kudos to Tulsi Gabbard, confirmed as nation's intelligence chief. Unfortunately, we have a whole, well, I guess she is what part? I think she's Indian, Hawaiian, from Hawaii. But we are filled up with a lot of incompetence running our country. So if something happens, if there's a terrorist attack, if our folks stop giving us information, security information, we know why. Anyway. Let's see what else we got. Michael Radin says, National Consumer Law Center, unlawful shutdown of consumer agency endangers working families, honest businesses, the economy. Rich Dubois, executive director of the National Consumer Law Center, said, the CFPB saves homes, stops fraud that ruins lives, and, oh, you're going too fast for me, guy. Ruin lives, stops frauds that ruins lives, and enforces key laws, winning $21 billion in relief over the last over 200 million people harmed by credit bureaus, big banks, debt collectors, and predatory lenders. Yesterday's show demonstrated how backward red hats can be when they talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. And you know what is so interesting? Elon Musk is going to start using PayPal as Twitter as a bank or some form of payment system. So, of course, he doesn't want the presence of a CFPB around. That is why. Remember, he's closing down agencies that have sued him, filed charges against him, or any one of those things in between. That's what he's there for. And now he wants to shut down the CFPB. I think there is a lawsuit out for that as well. Bridge MC Doge. Let's see. Para ver. Doge is a new way to cut out the taxpayer funding progressive activism. If you believe that, then what can I say about you? You know why I read that one? Because I think it is funny. But anyhow, Bridge wants me to put this on the screen. What Bridge asks for, Bridge gets. So here we go on the screen, our dear Bridge. And there it goes. It says, Kendrick made white conservatives mad. Okay, but so did Teletubbies. It's not hard. It's not hard to do that. By the way, it seems like Substack has made a change to the format on the screen, which means I can get things on the screen easier than before. Let me also make sure that I have the monitor configured correctly. I think I do. I think I do. That looks correct. Also, that looks correct. So I think we are in business. Let me see. Configure the monitor. I think that is supposed to be 347. Para ver. I think that is good. Bear with me, guys, as I just make sure that I have a few of my parameters set correctly, because I think I'm going to want to show a few other things later on with this tool if we have the wherewithal to do so. All right. Yes. All right. Okay. Continuing with Michael Radnin. Let's see. He says USA Today: Trump pauses DOJ enforcement of bribery law for U.S. firms overseas. Trump ordered newly confirmed Attorney General Pam Bondi to immediately stop actions taken under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, or FCPA, including prosecution of American individuals and companies who the Justice Department have charged with bribing foreign government officials. Open bribery and corruption has begun. Well, we got a corrupt president and he believes in corruption, so what can I say? The Telegraph UK: US aid freezes claims first victims as oxygen supplies cut off. 71-year-old woman dies after being sent from the USAID funded hospital. Others die after hospital closes in refugee camps, and so forth. You can go ahead and read that yourself. All right. We also, whoa, Michael Rudnin, that's a lot, man. We also have experts say NIH budget cuts are the apocalypse of American science. Like I said, like I said, these people, when they start to believe the crap that they say, when they start to believe the lies that they talk about, it actually hurts us, because they don't realize. They think that the private sector is where all innovation occurs, where they find new drugs, etc. What they fail to analyze or realize is that our drugs and all these guys generally have their genesis, their beginning at college universities or with public grants. And what Elon Musk has done is shut down that train, and it hurts scientific development. And with that, in the long run, it even hurts the sectors at large. And it takes away the leadership role that we'll have, because Sweden is not stopping their investment. Switzerland's not stopping their investment. The UK is not stopping their investment. Canada is not stopping their investment. But we are. That is what end state capitalism looks like, folks. End state capitalism and corruption. That's what it looks like. All right. Paul Fleming says, when Trump was sworn in, Elon Musk corporations were under more than 32 investigations conducted by at least 11 federal agencies. Most of the cases are now closed or likely to be closed soon, and the federal agencies are being defanged by Doge. Funny how that works, huh? It's called private nepotism. I wish more people would watch this, especially those on the right. Egberto, please play this and read it out. Narrative. What is it about? The billionaire class are at fault for this broken economic system, but right-wing populism shifts the blame. Let's see if I can see what that is. 323. Who put that out? I gotta make sure I can before I can. Okay, let's see who puts. Oh, that is from our brother there. Yeah, if I get a chance, I'll play that later. I like that. I actually like that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Mike Cisak, welcome aboard to this chat. Bridge MCP says Supreme Court just before that. Paul says on Monday, USAID IG warned that Trump's agency cuts have made it harder to root out fraud and abuse, and that nearly 500 million in food was about to spoil due to Trump's foreign aid freeze. On Tuesday, Trump fired him. So much for transparency. It's funny, isn't it? Supreme Court Justice sounds alarm over Trump's monarchy power grab. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor said Tuesday that court decisions stand whether one particular person chooses to abide by them or not, days after two of the President Donald Trump's top lieutenants attacked rulings that halted some of his contentious executive orders. Okay, let's see what we have here. What else have we got here? Para ver. It looks like it is time for me. Jay Ray says, I'm not a fan of Kendrick Lamar like some of the old school acts, but I'm woke. So I get why he pissed off MAGA. There you go. All right, folks, I'm going to play my first video. This is a fairly long one, but it's one that I think we need to hear. I did it this morning. So let's go ahead and get busy with it, and then we'll take it on the other side. I want to start this way. When this election was, during the heat of the election, a lot of people were trying to explain to our MAGA brothers and sisters, or conservative brothers and sisters, those on the right, that you couldn't quite believe the things that both Trump and Republican politicians were telling you. There are certain things that are that it doesn't matter whether you carry an R or a D or an I in front of your name, meaning Republican, Democrat, or Independent. There are certain things that are universal for all of us. All of us have parents who are on Social Security. All of us have relatives, if not ourselves, who are dependent on Medicaid because they have a disability and traditional health insurance won't cover it. There are myriad of things where government works. Let me just tell you, the reason you have the existence of Medicaid and Medicare are very specific reasons. And believe it or not, they have a lot to do with the failure of the private sector, or something the private sector cannot do. The private sector's intent is to make a profit. And you know what? That's a good thing, right? For a whole lot of businesses, that's a good thing. When I did my software, I made a profit on the products that I made. I paid the taxes on the profit that I made, but I made a profit. That's a good thing. But there are certain things that profit should not be the motive, as we talk about here all of the times. This include Medicare and Medicaid. In fact, Medicare came into existence because insurance companies couldn't make a profit insuring older people who have more health problems. That's why we needed something like Medicare. So since people couldn't afford what premiums would have to be if older people were covered, or it would be too expensive and a lot of people would forego it, the government stepped into action and said, let's create protection for older people. And that was called Medicare. And Medicare didn't matter how sick you were, how healthy you were, how old you were, as a United States citizen, a United States resident who paid into taxes all their lives, or those who are just, again, citizens, residents. The government, we the people, said, because we are humane, we would have a program to ensure that people that couldn't get insurance on the outside for their health, they would still be able to live. They would still be able to get health care, and that was Medicare. So automatically, this insurance was created for people who were older. And then it got expanded later on for other purposes. Same with Medicaid. Medicaid is for people that are poor, who could never possibly be able to pay for private health insurance, or for disabled people who insurance companies say, you're disabled, you can't work right now, you can't pay for your insurance. Therefore, the only way you can get insurance is if you are on Medicaid. Medicaid, a lot of people look at Medicaid and say, Medicaid is for poor people, Medicaid is for useless people. Well, you know what? That's not true. We're supposed to be a humane society. This isn't about charity. This is about a humane society. And that's what these programs were. Okay. Now, personally, I don't believe we should have private health insurance at all. I believe every country, like the sensible countries in the world, should have we the people, by definition, have health care. Great Britain does it, although they're going through some problems because the attempt at privatization has really screwed their system up. Canada has it. Ask which Canadian will come and replace their system with ours. And for those who say Canadians wait for a doctor, my daughter had to go see her neurosurgeon. She had to wait 3 months before she could see him. Don't talk to me about they have waiting lists in Canada. Over here in the United States, there are waiting and waiting and waiting as well. Now, if you are ultimately wealthy, you don't wait. But if you're ultimately wealthy in Canada, there are backdoors ways that you won't wait either. That's just the reality. That's just the reality of things. But anyhow, as it turns out, I don't believe we should have private health care for basic health insurance. Anyway, if you want to go into a hospital where you have pedals on your bed, where you have gourmet food, etc., private insurance can give you a policy to do all of that if you want that sort of a service. But basic healthcare should be the purview of we the people, so that everybody would have equal access to healthcare, so that healthcare, your ability to pay for healthcare, doesn't determine your future. So that's what we have. Don't forget, Reagan, this is a cultural thing. Reagan claimed that healthcare was, we would jump into socialism if we had healthcare. Well, while healthcare is should be socialized, in my opinion, he forgot to tell you that we believe in free enterprise with a socialized section of our government, like the fire department, the police department, the military, and all these things, which in fact are socialized, which means we the people pay for it no matter what. So now, we've established all those programs. Those programs work, some good, some not so good. The ones that don't work not so good, it's because of what the private sector has done to blow its budget. So when Elon Musk is running away about what government is doing, etc., Elon Musk has to realize that most of the overspending within government is because government uses a lot of private contractors who rip them off. You doubt it? Just go look at SpaceX and how much SpaceX is charging to go to the lab, to the space station, and how much ripping off they are doing to the American government. Is he going to go into the budget and cut the NASA program that pays him for his overpriced services that he learned from we the people, the government? Elon Musk never invented a damn thing. SpaceX, all the technology from SpaceX originated with NASA, we the people of the United States. Starlink, all the technologies in Starlink was patented originally by many others, funded by we the people. Electric cars, there's Burkina Faso, an African country, has finally decided not to depend on the Elon Musks of the world and develop their own electric cars that run in their own environment, etc., with battery produced with the raw materials in Africa that all these other companies are going for. He did nothing special. They're doing it in Burkina Faso. So there's nothing special about Elon Musk other than being a South African who Donald Trump is enamored with. And he comes over here and he decides that he's going to go into our government and decide what needs to be done, and decide that he's going to cut, and starts with USAID, that company that provides relief all over the world with claims of waste. But again, we're back to Medicaid, folks, and Medicare. These were programs created because the private sector failed. I repeat, the private sector thought it wanted to take care of healthcare, but when it reached the point where it had to really let go some money for the elder or for the disabled, they threw their hands up in the air, and government, as government always does, came to the rescue. And what did they do? Now that the government has taken Medicare and said, I am going to rescue my American people, I'm going to rescue you and make sure that you can have health care. Then the parasites come in. Hey, government, why don't you let us administer Medicare for you? Wait a minute. You couldn't do it before, but now that it's guaranteed that the government is going to pay for the health care of the elderly, now you want a piece of the action, and now you want to tell me that you can do it cheaper than the government when you couldn't do it at all? And then they pay off the politicians and they create Medicare Advantage. And Medicare Advantage is nothing more than Medicare that's more expensive. Medicare where monies are siphoned to the corporate sector. Money is siphoned to the shareholders. Money is siphoned to the executives that run these companies. And whereas Medicare may cost $8,000 or so per person, the traditional Medicare, you have to give on the average $10, $12, $15,000 to the private sector to do the same thing. You see, they get their own, they get their money, but we spend a lot of money just supporting them. And then they have you fooled, the American people, that somehow Medicare Advantage is better than Medicare, that private healthcare is better than Medicaid, which covers the poor and the disabled. And again, 80-something million Americans are on Medicaid. 80-something million Americans are on Medicaid. It's a lot of money. Elon Musk wants to give, or I should say, I gave a speech at the Kingwood area Democrats, and I said, stop blaming Elon Musk. It is Donald Trump who is ordering Elon Musk to do his thing. Donald Trump is the president, not Elon Musk. We can't defer or give Donald Trump a pass. So Donald Trump says, Elon Musk, go save us money in the government so that we can give rich people the tax cut or extend that tax cut that we promised. These people are already rich. We have a lot of people in need, but these people are already rich. And they already don't pay their fair share of taxes. It is said that if we were to get all the taxes owed on a yearly basis, we would collect another $500 or more billion per year. If we tax if people didn't have the loopholes, if they didn't hide their taxes, etc. But no, we allow them to do that. But they still want more. I tell you, these guys are psychopaths. They still want more. They want more. They want more. So Elon Musk has to find money. So there are two things Elon Musk uses to decide how he is going to find money. Numero uno, any agency in which he had a problem with, whether that be the FAA, who fined his SpaceX for having spaceships that blow up and pollute many of the areas where it blew up. Numero uno. Numero dos, people who fined him for his business practices. Numero tres, people who scrutinize him for how he employs people. So he goes after those people under the tutelage of DOGE. But secondly, he also decides to go after the low-hanging fruit. He starts with the USAID. Many Americans are of the false belief that America gives a large percentage of our budget for foreign aid. False, less than 1%. USAID is $40 billion. Okay. So they go after USAID. They figure they'll get a few $1 billion from that. They need about $2 trillion. So they're starting, right? We can get a $30 or $40 billion from USAID and lie about all this fraud that is occurring in the USAID. But of course, USAID, a lot of the food that it gives away to all these other countries, peanut butter, flour, corn, all of that's coming from the Midwest. So $2 billion of that $40 billion go to farmers in the Midwest. And these farmers are screaming now, Elon Musk has stopped paying the bill, as many of the stuff are out there in fields unable to be delivered or rotting. Elon Musk. Again, they claim Elon Musk is a genius. Elon Musk is not a genius. Elon Musk is a parasite. Elon Musk couldn't write a piece of code worth selling. And I know that from the source. He's not a smart person. He's a privileged person. There's a difference between privileged and smart. Privileged people get things because of who they are. As an example, Pete Hegseth, completely unqualified for the job. He gets it. Privileged, and has a nerve to talk about meritocracy. No, DEI guarantees meritocracy. DEI is one of the programs that supports meritocracy. In other words, the Pete Hegseth in a DEI world would not be hired because he's an incompetent, drunken fraud. Okay, but we're talking about Medicaid, so I digress. Elon Musk decided that he could get a whole lot out of USAID. But what else did he say? Or what else is he doing? Republicans are now in Congress, Mike Johnson, looking at a huge, big pot. There's $800 billion they're hoping to siphon off Medicaid over 10 years. But now they're scared because who are the people that are mostly on Medicaid? You know, it's easy when you start to believe your lies, you make mistakes. They believe the lie that this USAID is so corrupt when a lot of their own people depend on the USAID, and when they shut it down, they harm a lot of MAGA. I went to my Democratic meeting, and one of my friends said her daughter works for another agency. Her job is gone. Guess who works there? A lot of folks who voted for Donald Trump works there. It's gone. Now, Medicaid. Remember what we talk about a whole lot. Red states are beggar states. What I mean by that is the following. The states that give the most to the federal government, Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts, these are blue states that have good healthcare programs, high taxes to cover their people's needs, and high taxes to cover red states' needs, because red states are takers. They take more from the federal government than they put into the federal government, so they are welfare states. And how do they take from the government? It's not just military we're talking about. We're talking about more of their people are on Medicaid, more of their people are sicker, more of their people are uneducated, thus requiring a whole lot of other services provided by the government. So when you talk or start talking about cutting programs, while it sounds good when you're doing rah, rah, rah at a Trump rally, a lot of them people at the Trump rally are on Medicaid. A lot of those people on the Trump rally are on food stamps, SNAP. All these people in these red states are on government aid. You go into Appalachia, 50% of certain counties are on government programs. So while in order to freak out their base, they will have you believe that it's a certain kind of people that are on a government stipend. It's does not where most of the money goes. When the lie has to be implemented, it is those who get harmed. It is those who get hurt. So we warned you before the election. We told you that what Project 2025 said. Project 2025 wasn't for the MAGA, the average MAGA person. Project 2025 wasn't only an ideological document. Project 2025 was there to cut government, was there to throw government in the bathtub. And the thing about it is because red states are more dependent on the government than anyone else, and that all the private sector now claims they will take over all these things at a fee, your lives will be made very, very difficult. As was said in this in the article that I am following here, GOP ready plan to cut Medicaid to pay for tax cuts. But there's one part of there. GOP told senior Republicans that before they pull the trigger, they have to make sure that Trump doesn't double cross them. In other words, when the Republicans come out and say cuts to Medicaid is how we're going to pay for the tax cuts for the wealthy. And when MAGA starts to find out that they are the ones that are getting the most cuts, and Trump sees the reaction, the Republicans or Congress are now concerned that he'll immediately go ahead, blame them and say, you can't do it. Come out looking like the hero and screw them, because we know Donald Trump is not going to take it.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Anyway, folks, welcome aboard. Bruce Pollard is in the house. Welcome aboard. Dystopian Dragon is in the house. Welcome aboard. Tom Zornick from Michigan. We also have in the house, by the way, Bruce is from Kingwood, Texas. Mike Cisak is from Missouri. Let's see what else we've got here. All right. I love what Dystopian says. Dystopian says, trees voting for the axe. I know, right? The trees voting for the axe. Dystopian also says Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the let them eat cake party. Exactly. Lunar Minx, welcome to Politics Done Right, says a toddler picking his nose told Trump to go away. He wasn't the real president. Trump got owned by a toddler, and there's nothing he can do knowing the toddler hears his dad and business bros saying it. Yeah, Trump doesn't have a lot upstairs. Brother Tom Zornick says the following. While Musk and his minions are on the prowl, Republicans are silent and Democrats howl. Muskrats are breaking things in great haste, claiming to uncover fraud, corruption, and waste. The truth of the matter is much less clear. Doji is stealing our personal data, I fear. MAGA's hacking and attacking our republic, hijacking democracy. While our government not perfect, it's much better than autocracy. Appeals are now being made to the courts, where judges like umpires in many sports make calls for what pitches are strikes and which balls. Now it's up to Scottus to settle the case and say that Musk and Pottas are a way off base. Their errant hits are really most foul. Damn, Sarnik. How do you do that? And how do you do that so quickly? That is one of Tom Sarnik's great limericks, or I think he called these extended limericks. I love that one. He's our resident poet. Okay, that is Tom Sarnik for you. All right, what else we've got here? Bridge MCP says Trump is appealing the lawsuits. First step. Then Scottus, which have not always sided with him. I think Scottus is going to try to reassert its place in the triad, in the separation of powers, the different branches of government. I think they're going to try to assert it. Representative Ted Lieu, Donald Trump promised to lower prices. He lied to you. Instead of Republicans holding hearings on price gouging or how big companies are raising prices, they're holding a hearing on Twitter and Facebook. Are you kidding? And that is why so many are upset with Democrats. Democrats need to be out there saying, he said he was going to cut your prices. He said he was going to do this. All he's doing is vengeance right now. And he's doing nothing to help the average American citizen. Doge is doing nothing other than hiding stuff so that Musk can get away with his company with a whole lot of stuff. He's also trying to shrink the government for one specific reason. And that reason is as follows. That reason is to ensure that if he shrinks government, the private sector has a bigger part to play in the services government used to give you. And do remember, private sector services cost more. Why? Because you have to generate a profit, because you have to generate bonuses, because you have to pay for all the incidentals that government doesn't have to pay for. Government is more efficient for providing social services, for providing transportation, etc., for our cities or countries or counties. But again, it's the great steal, folks. It's the great steal. It's the great steal. And here is the big, big thing, however, folks. Check this out. Let me put this one on the center screen and cover up my face on this one. Here it goes. Nope, I didn't get it there. Let's see where I can put it. I need to put it right on the screen, right key. There we go. Here we go. GOP proposes $4.5 trillion tax giveaway to the rich while ransacking food stamps and Medicaid. And here's the deal. House Republicans unveil a draft budget resolution on Wednesday that calls for $4.5 trillion in tax breaks that would disproportionately benefit the wealthy, while proposing $2 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, federal nutrition assistance, and other programs. Lawmakers are set to mark up the House GOP's budget blueprint on Thursday as Republicans look to craft a sprawling reconciliation bill that can pass both chambers of Congress with a simple majority vote. Last week, Senate Republicans released their own budget resolution that proposes significant cuts to Medicaid, supplemental nutritional assistance, SNAP, which is food stamps, and other spending that benefits working class families. FAFO, folks. Remember, we told you so. MAGA folks are the ones that most use the federal government for food stamps, for Medicaid, and for other services from the government. They have shot themselves in the foot. They better hope that Democrats come out fighting and swinging for them and try to diminish the amount of pain they'll have to feed. Because all of you folks in Appalachia, I hope you're listening to me now. You're going to be out of your food stamps. Hey, you folks in Appalachia, you're going to be missing your what is it called again? Your Medicaid. Let's get real, folks. Let's get real. This is what's happening. And by the way, Lee Grant, the country needs folks like Elon and Big Balls to root out fraud and waste. He's not rooting out fraud and waste. He's creating waste, and he himself is a fraudster with what he charges the government for services not rendered appropriately. So let's be clear here. When you buy the Kool-Aid, you believe these things, right? Gullibility. Stop the gullibility, folks. You're screwing your own. Yes, it's gonna the poor people on the left are gonna be hurt as well, but there are a lot more people on the right that depend on government services. Red states are beggar states. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, Tennessee, all these states are beggar states. Okay? They take more from the federal government than they put in. All right, let's remember that. So, MAGA folks that are listening to me and getting upset, they're coming for you. You voted for a government that's coming for you. Remember that. Remember that. And say it's FAFO. FAFO. All right, let's see what else we got here. I think I saw something from, let's see. Paul Fleming says, Trudeau, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that Canada will ever be the 51st state. Of course not. Of course not. We also have from Paul Fleming, NBC News, with the Trump administration warning career lawyers to follow orders even if they have ethical qualms. Pressure is building on professional legal associations to take a stance against efforts to upend long-standing norms of public service. While Donald Trump is immune from prosecution for doing illegal stuff while he's in office, the people who work for him are not. So you can't say they gave me an order to do this. Don't break the law for Donald Trump. Don't destroy your career for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a crook. Can't help it. He's a crook. Can't help it. All right, what else have we got here? What else have we got here? Para ver. What else have we got? All right, I got another video for you. This one is a call that I received this morning where I had to school a MAGA guy on immigration. So let's go ahead and do that right this minute. I think Bard's on the line. Brother Bard, talk to me.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Message to all the listeners. Good morning. The government is not coming to save you. You have to take personal responsibility for yourself. There was a deal with Karine Jean-Pierre, who reminds me a lot of you. They asked her if any FEMA funds were going to illegal aliens. She said no. Now, it's proven that this African-American, Elon Musk, last week figured out that FEMA had sent $59 million to New York City, $59 million of your tax dollars to New York and other cities to house illegal aliens. They are renting luxury hotels for illegals.
Right. Okay. Let's go ahead now. Let's go ahead and point out why. Okay. Stop now. Hold on. I need to answer that lie that you just gave. Okay. Now here's the thing, folks. What Bart said is it's only a partial lie. Let's explain certain things. When folks come over to this country by international law, if they claim asylum, they have to be led into the country. And after they're led into the country, they have their day in court. That's international law. One of the things with the uneducated I'm not done. Okay, be quiet. Now, as I said, international law. These people requested asylum. Now they will be taken care of until their asylum is determined, and they're either deported or they get a visa to stay in the United States. That's the law. Now, what the right wing likes to do, and folks like Bart that just simply take information that he gets and takes it to be true, is they don't understand the realms of internationality or any of these issues. Now, they talk about they're putting them in luxury hotels, right? They're putting them where they can find space. And sometimes luxury hotels are where there is space, and they just buy those rooms up in bulk and put the people there. It's nowhere sinister like these right-wingers would like to put it. It is something known as being humane. Now, I do have an issue with the way immigrants, these asylum seekers are coming into the country, and when they come into the country, they get, they get support. I think that same level of support should be given to our poor. But our poor, again, we don't see things the way that we should in the way we deal with our poor. So what happened because of the way things go with our undocumented workers right now and the asylum seekers is that the poor goes out there and they say, my God, I've been in this country all my life. I'm trying to make it. And here are all these undocumented workers coming in here and they get to a place to stay, etc. I am poor and my country does nothing for me. And those poor people are correct. My poor folks in Appalachia are correct. My poor folks in the ghettos are correct. My poor folks in the barrios are correct. We need to have programs that make sense. But because we have psychopaths that are pretty much running a lot of this stuff, we don't get it. And because we have people like our brother Bart, whose mind is easily convinced with its gullibility, that is the reason we can't make progress. Okay, change next subject. Go ahead. Go ahead. Next subject.
Okay. It's not the United States' responsibility to be the babysitter of the world. We're not here to feed the world. We got enough problems.
Look, I'm not asking. Wait, Bart. I am not asking this.
Law. I don't care about international law.
Well, you don't
care about international law.
I understand that. I know you're a troglodyte. You don't care about international law, but if you are partaking of international, you trade. You have to care about international law. And that's what I tell you, Republicans make you not Republicans, the conservative make you not think. If you trade with the rest of the world, which we do, if we have bases around the world, which we do, if we have existences around the world, which we do, there is a compact with it around the world that one must follow if you're integrated with the world. So that troglodytic form of thinking, my dear brother, is something that hurts. Next person. David, let's come on in. Kind of got upset at yes, he's a troglodyte, but he's deeper than a troglodyte. I don't care about what the rest of the world says. I don't, that is what we call. Imagine we have enough of those people that think like that, willfully ignorant people that gave us the president that we have today. But again, a lot of that understand. This is when sexism, xenophobia, and racism that the president was able to tie all these people together to create a slight win, right? Especially from those who didn't show up to vote either. It is shameful, but it's what we have. Now, here is an interesting thing I found on TikTok this morning. I like to peruse TikTok for good information. I want you guys to see this because here we have a congresswoman from Connecticut. We have this MAGA person comes in and they think they have something strong to say about, okay, let's go to Bridge MCP first. My dear sister, Bridge MCP, let me go ahead and take you before I play that other video. Talk to me.
Hi, two things. That caller is an idiot that just called you. Has no idea.
Big time. Yes.
Huge. I've been here since, I'm a kid, and I have a green card. And I remember being in college, I was working and teaching, And the vice president came up and called me to his office and told me, you won't be able to take your finals because your green card expired. I said, what? I've had that all my life. I mean, they don't expire. And he said, well, they put a thing out in the last month or something, and it expired. You have to get a new one. And he goes, you better get it before, finals. I said, finals are in 2 weeks. He goes, yeah. I said, it could take 2 years to get a green card. He said, no, it doesn't. I said, yeah, it does. Well, it took 3 years to get my new green card. And I figured, it was around 9/11 time that hit. And I figured I better become a citizen because of where I come from and my dad. And I was like, going to be deported. So I applied for citizenship. That took another 3 years.
Yep.
Now, I've been here at that point for 30 years or something. And it took me almost 6 years to get my citizenship. Can you imagine being a brown person who has to get a lawyer, which they can't afford? They
Yep.
do have free ones, but still. And go and apply. Do you think they want to they have time to wait 6 years while all these friggin' MAGA people are flipping out that they're here? They're waiting. The system is backed up. They're waiting. Why shouldn't they get a chance to become here? Why shouldn't they have to, they gave them cell phones that only do one thing. They check their application. Oh, they're giving them cell phones. They're giving them this. The phones don't make phone calls. They just check their application. That's it. I mean, and Trump took them all away. Well, that was stupid because he's stupid. And then
Yeah, because now he can't find them.
Right. I mean, he's just stupid. And the other thing I wanted to ask you, seriously, why does MAGA come here?
Let me tell you, I know why they come. I have the answer for you, and then you can ask the other question. They come here because, believe it or not, there's something within, and they're not just all trolling, right? There's something within their minds that they're getting out of here. One, attention that they're lacking. That's one. But most importantly, believe it or not, and I mean this to the core, they will never admit it. But they themselves know that what they're hearing is crap, and they just want to hear something else, and they want to put out a whole lot of their crap to see how we respond to it. But I'm not here to respond to their indoctrination. I'm here to keep seeding them.
I was going to say, tell it to the other people and keep answering them. They want attention. Don't give it to them.
Yeah,
they're here to argue every bullshit point that they have.
Well, the thing about it is, again, they are products of a bad, a completely messed up not multimedia, but mainstream media, completely messed up. In fact, what we are doing, Breed, what I'm doing with, let's say, Substack, keeping my own center with Substack on the newsletters that I'm doing. If you notice, every reputable journalist right now is starting to build on that. If you look at what Acosta did, Acosta is doing it, and because he has CNN, he's like 10 times the amount of people I have already. I have 20,000 folks or so. He's got like
a lot of people follow. Yeah, they were on Substack.
Right. So a lot of these folks are coming on Substack now, where they build their sphere of trust. In other words, you don't have to look and say, well, CNN, 60% of these journalists are full of it. You no longer have to do that, because you can go directly to the journalists you trust. And that is what we're doing right now. And we think,
good, but
yeah. And these clowns are going to come around.
I don't care. I personally, at the point on that, I don't care why their heads are filled with crap, why they are willfully ignorant or so downright stupid in some cases, why they believe these insane things. I don't really care anymore about it. I don't care how they got to this point. What I do care about is that they need so much attention. They're like 2-year-olds, and typing the things they type in there, only to have someone like Maywood or somebody else, mostly May, answer them and question them.
Let me answer
them.
Right. Let me say this. It takes maturity on our part as well to not engage on the times that I engage is when I want to put out something else in the ethos, right? But it takes a level
Yeah.
of maturity not to do it. A level, and in fact, even on myself, because there was a time that I would answer each one of them just because,
I
I
know.
was new to the medium. And I think many of you have told me, hey, you have to remember that this forum belongs to everybody. And, in doing so, I learned as well. So it takes a certain level of maturity of which we all grow into. So that's where I'm at. Hey, I have a TikTok that I want to show you guys,
Yeah, I know.
PhD.
I just want to get that off my chest about the citizenship and about the morons.
Well, no problem, sister.
Sorry.
We'll talk later, okay? Thank you, sis.
Okay, bye.
All right. All right, folks. I want you to listen to this TikTok video. Uh, I was very impressed with this congresswoman, and I'm going to put it on the center screen. I want you guys to check this out.
Because you didn't make choices in the prior administration where people who didn't go to college were being asked to pay off the loans of those that did go to college. What was your voice?
Everyone.
You talked about Constitution, you talked about illegality and things of that sort. And to my understanding, the forgiveness of student loans was not legal. So were you making choices about that? And again, I'm talking to you as a taxpayer.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm up to here on taxes for the federal government. I'm up to here on the federal government taxes and on the state taxes. And I'm simply asking you as a congressperson, what are you doing to reduce the cost of government? Thank you again.
I wasn't a homeowner when the federal government failed out the mortgage industry. I didn't own any stocks when the federal government failed out the banking industry. I didn't own a car when the federal government bailed out the auto industry. And the fact that our hard line is a 19-year-old who wants to go to college and turn around poverty in their family and change the trajectory for their children, we have a problem there. The federal government took on the responsibility of managing and overseeing the student loan program to make a profit. That's right. That's what they did. So you had people who, long before Obama, but even if it was, okay, I'll give that to you, even if it was Obama, we have a responsibility. It's a relay. We go from one administration to the other. This idea that, this was Obama's fault, because what was spent in the student loan forgiveness program doesn't even come close to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, where 93% of the benefits went to the top 1% of the population.
There you go. There you go. And that's the issue. When you have these clowns, a guy like this guy, he's supposed to be, you would think he's educated. I've even seen some engineers talk like this guy. I will be as kind as I can. They are stupid. Because if you use an excuse, and I don't like to use those words, I don't generally, but that guy was stupid when he goes ahead and he talks that crap about, well, the people who didn't go to college are paying off loans for the people who went to college. Well, did you make sure to say that the people who ran the economy into the ground with the credit default swaps got bailed out, like she said? All these other, the PPP loans that went to rich people that they don't ever have to pay back, that's your tax dollars. And we can go on and on and on. And these regurgitatingly gullible, gullible, impossible, critical, lack of critical thinking. As she points out, he should feel like a little man when she says, and you won't go after the billionaire that's ripping billions away from you. You're going after a student over a few $1,000s, as opposed to a billionaire that's ripping you off by the billions. Look at who you're fighting. You're a little man. You're a little person of feeble mind. It's amazing, folks. It's amazing. From Paul Fleming, the daughter of a primary author of Project 2025, Russell Vaught, started on Trikafta, a drug showing promise in managing pulmonary issues associated with cystic fibrosis. The drug that is currently being studied is backed by a $3 million grant from the NIH. But because the NIH funded ended, Vaught's daughter won't have access to the drug. Damn fool. It's amazing, isn't it? It is amazing. These guys, oh, guess what? It's going to get funded now. It's going to get funded now. Anyway, it seems like we have sort of a lock up on the system right now, though I'm still talking. So what I want to say is thank you so kindly. We got to get out of here while this stuff is still. It seems what's going on here? Let me see if I can change a few things and get it back or not. Let's see if that will come back or not. Bear with me or not. Let's see what we got or not. Okay. All right, folks. It seems like we have an issue here. So I'm going to say thank you so kindly. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.